Well, guys, Shiba Inu has done it. We have officially breached this level, which is a positive sign. Shiba Inu continues to take these steps forward, even as the market has been kind of quiet, not a whole lot going on. And there's a couple important things that I want to talk about here. I do need to discuss something that's significant that's happening in terms of the SHIB ETH pairing, the SHIB ETH chart. I do need to talk about some news that's floating around right now that people need to be aware of. And I do need to actually talk about the Shiba Inu bearish formation that's playing out that we have breached to the positive side of before. So if you guys are new or haven't already, show your support for the channel down below. Hit that subscribe button, that bell. It's free to do. It'll keep you updated anytime there's new content live here on the channel. So a couple nice green days for Shiba Inu. Today we're actually up 1.1% on the day. Alts are moving just a little bit despite ETH actually being a little flat, a little red. And I think that's a nice positive sign. A little bit of retail confidence as the weekend progresses is a good thing. I want to see BTC basically stay right where it's at now until we see our next weekly candle open. Actually, in terms of BTC, I think this would be one of our highest weekly closes ever. Yeah, pretty darn close to it. We're right at about where we were back on the week of May 19th. Almost stumbled there for a second. But again, we're still trying to stay broken out and breached in this BTC chart. And that could be a very positive sign as we enter the week. But what I want to point out in terms of Shiba Inu is, we're right below that 20-day moving average. We're actually in a little bit of an ascending wedge right now, which, guys, is a bearish formation. Just understand that. But I will say that it's very interesting how similar we are to what we were doing back here in the early part of April. In fact, we were building the exact same formation, guys. We were in a bear pennant, just so you guys can understand what we were going through. This is a bearish formation, guys. And what we did was breach to the top. In fact, it's very similar how these two are playing out. We kind of had our breach. We came back down. We were putzing around below that 20-day moving average. We finally got an extended breach, and that broke Shiba Inu out of the top. Same thing happening here, guys. Breach, come back down. We're kind of biding our time. So we could, in fact, see a breach to the upside here of that 20-day moving average, testing around 4012. Again, remember, there's a huge wall we're trying to fight through right there. That would also be where our 50 days kind of coming down. We're going to have to contend with that. And we could, in fact, see this 20-day flip around and start to basically follow the bottom of this trend, just as we did back here. Not saying that has to happen for sure, but that might be what we do before we make a decision. We might get closer to the end of this before SHIB decides either to break down or break to the upside. Just understand that is here and present. But what is very exciting for Shiba Inu is we did, in fact, set a new all-time high in terms of holders like we've been doing basically every single day. But we did, in fact, breach 1.52 million. That is awesome. To see Shiba Inu continue to gain ground, even when the market is just kind of crap, is, I think, a pretty important sign. Now, what I will say is people be aware of this. This isn't an actual thing. So what this article said is Shiba Inu's supply the most centralized amongst the top coins, with 62% held by just 10 whales. It's not true. They're going to try to FUD it and say things that are not correct, and I'll show you guys exactly what I mean. But what they did was break it down compared to, Uniswap and Ethereum and Pepe and DAI and Chainlink and USDT and USDC. And the problem is guys, 41% of the supply is in the burn wallet. It is a dead-end wallet. There's no access to it. So Shiba Inu concentration by those top 10 holders of the total supply is actually 21%. It's one of the most decentralized assets in the entire crypto market. So they're just straight up trying to spin information and FUD Shiba Inu. So no, not a thing. Even if you compare the concentration of the next top 10 wallets to the circulating supply, it's still only 36%. So it's right down here around DAI, around Chainlink. Hopefully people understand that. SHIB is a very unique asset in the space. It has some of the longest average hold time. It has some of the most convicted holders, the most dedicated community. Like we talked about yesterday, it's one of the reasons why the volume is so low, because people they're not playing games, they're not wash trading, okay? So that's actually working in Shiba Inu's favor. So just be aware of that. Now, something I did want to point to on the SHIB ETH chart, guys, is we're doing a pretty good job of showing some resilience right at around, it's hard to see exactly what these levels are. It's 0.02. I'm not sure what the decimals are at, but we're retesting some of these levels that were good support or actually resistance back here in basically December of 2023, also in September of 2023. And right now, what we actually just are getting is a bullish cross on that daily stochastic RSI. But that's not the only thing. We're getting this on the weekly here as well. Just had this bullish cross take place. Now, does this mean that, SHIB is about to moon versus ETH? Maybe, maybe not. Last time we did in fact get this cross beginning, it was all the way in January of 2025. And you guys can see what we did versus ETH. We had a very, very nice run take place there. We saw this once again back here in basically August of 24. You guys can see the rally versus ETH. And once again here in basically February of 2024. So it's possible we might be setting up for a pretty big extension moving forward here. Not saying it needs to happen for sure. Again, like I mentioned, we are in a bearish formation. We don't have this overwhelming bullish sentiment in the market right now too. We're trying to, again, still work through a lot of the bears, a lot of the selling pressure, a lot of the shorts in the market, some of the manipulation that's going on. People are still kind of walking on eggshells because we have obviously big tariff news next week. We're going to hear exactly what the plan is moving forward. We have crypto week the following week. So that's kind of where we're at. We're in a frankly good spot. We're building up potentially some momentum here, but we need a bigger push. We need a little bit of a breach. And guys, if SHIB can start running out of this trend to the upside kind of on its own, as we've done several times before, that could really be a good indication of what may follow there. So I appreciate you guys as always. I hope you enjoyed the video. Let me know your thoughts below, but have a great day. Catch you guys in the next one. Take care.